Good evening, I'm Giuseppe Basile, I'm the analyst and trader. You can find at the website www.vipstalker.com. I also post regularly on Twitter using the Vipstalker nickname. Good evening, today is Wednesday, July the 9th, 2014, and it's 11:30 p.m. time in Toronto. This is my midweek review that I'll start publishing this week. As promised in my newsletter, actually my addendum I sent out yesterday with a very interesting article on my latest research paper published for IFTA, the International Federation of Technical Analysts. So if you haven't had a chance to go through it, please do let me know what you think about it. You can post on my blog, or you can shoot me an email at fibstalker@gmail.com. So in this video I'm going to review for you a number of markets. They're going to be 8 plus 5, 13 markets, and let's start from the euro dollar, which is what you see on the screen. This is the daily time frame, and you will remember that Sunday last week was able to identify this area of resistance, and congratulations to those who took the trade here. There was a short, and the market actually continued lower, gave a free risk trade, and at the moment we are in a reaction. However, when we study the price more closely, we can see that price actually broke all the way halfway back here, and that's a very important indication. It's telling us that there is no support from longs here in this market. So this market is correcting thanks to the activity of program trading on the smaller time frame, and as soon as the sequence of measure move fails here, and this can happen when market gets into this 136.70, which is a very important area of at the start of a very important area of resistance, we could actually see the market resuming the move lower. It's very important to look at the 4-hour chart. In the 4-hour chart, we can see clearly the failure of the bulls here, which already showed on the daily time frame, and we can also see after price completed the sequence of measure move here, there was an extension long, and price got into the first target. The next measure move failed, and that gave us an indication that this market was ready for a counter trend trade. It's really profit taking, and when the market went above this 136.17, there was a retracement, and there was the setup of the measure move higher here, which is what we are seeing at the moment. And the market also retraced again into the all the way halfway back, and it's just continuing higher into this 136.57, which is the next area of profit taking here. Now the market could just so as soon as the sequence of measure move on the 4-hour time frame will be broken, there will be an indication for us to get short in this market, and we know that this market has now a target well below current prices into the 134.40 level. So that's what we have to anticipate. We can anticipate for this market. When it comes to the SP500, the daily time frame is what you see on the screen here. We can see that we have modeled this price with measure move here higher, and we can see that this is the correct trace, inner trace for this market, with a support in 1938, and it hit first target and was not able to make it into the second target, as we can see here. So this market is retracing and has retraced already into the next measure move, and the 61.8 level is being defended at the moment. That's the 1952.25. So as per the current setup, this market as an opportunity and as the setup actually to get into this higher level, and that would be the first target at 1989. And if everything continues, if the program trading on the smaller time frame continues pushing this price higher, we're going to see price into this level. Below 1952, we could see actually a larger retracement into the next measure move, the 1948 level. Moving to the dollar index futures, you will remember that last week I've indicated that the all the way halfway back failed. That's not a very important indication for this market, and we always have to remember that the euro dollar is much more important in terms of indications, in terms of setup than this market. And we know that the dollar index future always trades against the euro dollar, being the euro dollar the biggest pair that composes the dollar index future, which is actually an index. So I believe the euro dollar is still 60% of this index, so obviously it has a very important weight on the index price. So this market is coming back into the 80-10 area of support, the area starting at 80-10, and this area actually could now start holding price. So we could see actually this price start moving higher again, and that's what I anticipate for this market. Moving to the gold mini future, you will remember that last week I mentioned a level which could be identified with 1-2 days in advance here, and this level actually worked very well last Wednesday. As you can see here, the 1310 area of support was traced as the next extension long from the highs we saw during mid of July to recent highs. 1309, 1310 with a stop below the 1303.60 level actually has a target, the first target at the 1346, 1347 level, and that's where, according to this setup, we are going to look for price to move to. This is an extension, so price can actually get to the next level as well, which is 1366. Moving to the Japanese majors, and I'll start with the US dollar versus the Japanese yen here. This market has been it has failed the sequence of measure move we saw last week, and we got here a busted setup with price moving above the 102.33 level here, and price went just right into that first target and right into that large area of support that we know we have identified almost 6 months ago. Now actually that was identified in reality at the beginning of at the end of last year, so it's more than 6 months, almost 7 months now. And this 101.53 area, 101.50, still working as a support here. What happened last week is that after we got this the first target hit, we got typical behavior of busted setup, and we saw price moving briefly and briskly higher in the opposite direction. We also have a larger measure move here, and as you can see, it has failed. So my anticipation is that this 101.50 level is going to continue to hold here, and at the moment we have a sequence of measure move here, and there is still the possibility for this market to get into the 101.32, which is the target of this inner inner measure move here, which we can see here. So if that happens, should see price at this 101.32 and then reaction higher again and a violation of the sequence of measure move shorts. Moving to the euro versus the Japanese yen, this market, it's moving laterally. It's very difficult to trade this market on a smaller time frame. Should actually move to the 4-hour chart and try to capture a measure move short here, tracing from highs to lows. And as you can see, this measure move got into it's actually in play at the moment, and you always have to follow the sequence of measure move on the smaller time frame. We had this we have this measure move here with a support at 138.30, which will press into first and second target, and the next measure move in the sequence failed, and that failed just under this area of resistance. So once we got below 138.58, there was an opportunity to sell at 138.60 area here, and we have in this market we have a risk-free trade now. So this market is moving lower and has the possibility to still to hit the larger target in the first in the daily time frame, and the daily time frame is still bears are still in control here, and there is this setup that came at 140, at this area of resistance started at 140, and we know that this area of resistance has a first target right at that 137, right on top of that 136.80 level. Moving to the pound versus the US dollar, this market is still moving higher, and we had a beautiful sequence of measure move here from the high that we saw at the beginning of June. We had the first measure move to target, the target was 170.49. We had the second measure move to target from highs to highs, and that was the 169.54, and price made it to the first target but still didn't make it to the second target. So we will need to see whether we will get there, and then in that case we will continue in retracement. There is also another level of support that we need to take into consideration, and if price gets there, we could get actually a bounce which could help price into that second target at 172 level. So this we are still playing the long, and there is still a possibility for this market to hit the second target. Moving to the Australian dollar versus the US dollar, this market, after moving aggressively shorts, we saw the market and program trading and algorithms participating at this 0.9355 level here, and that participation was enough to confirm long, at least for now. We're now seeing a correction, and this correction could bring price back into that 0.9355. This market still the possibility to move laterally for some time before a move lower can actually resume. That's still the direction where I anticipate eventually then this market to move towards. So what can happen here is that we get a participation at this 0.93, and if that does not happen, this market could go back to 0.9355, and in that case I would still anticipate some support there below 0.9321. We know, and we have already traced this all the way halfway back, the 0.9082, and that's where initially we could see this market retrace to. Moving to the US dollar versus Canadian dollar, we know that this market completed a measure move short. It hit the first and second target as well. The first target was a 107.53, and the second target was a 106.61, and We are now seeing some profit taking here. So this lateral move you see here, it's really profit taking from this measure move short, and we know that the next measure move short in this sequence will take place when, and at least when, the market gets into this next area of resistance, which is our 107.20 area. So at the moment, when we look at the 4-hour chart, this market has actually violated already the sequence of measure move higher, as I'm going to show you in a minute. Before I do that though, I want to show you the trades that I gave on the daily time frame, which is this low to the current low, and that's the 170.15, 170.20 I showed you before. Now this market has the possibility to continue higher, pushed by the smaller time frame, and that has the potential to bring price into this 107.10 area before we see a brisk selling here. So that area 107.17 is going to become a very important, a very good entry area short. Of course, we want to leverage the fib stalking technique and wait that the confirmation on the smaller time frame is provided. But this is quite a strong area of resistance here. So if price gets there, we should see price reverse here quite nicely. Moving to the New Zealand dollar versus the US dollar. Here we have a very beautiful sequence of measure move that resembles a little bit the sequence of measure move we had in the period of March to May this year. And you will remember that I've indicated an anchor that worked beautifully. Congratulations to those who took these trades. This market is giving very good trades and very well formed setups. And the second measure move was trades from the same level to highs, and we got participation into OED 670 here, into the first target. And again, the market did not come to trade the next measure move. So at the moment, what we are looking at, we are still looking at the previous measure move long, which hit the first target. It's actually pushing, as you can see, program trading is pushing price into 88.44, 88.40 area here, and we could actually hit this target actually tomorrow, or anyway by the end of this week. I want also to remind you that where this market is going, where this market is being pushed on the time frame, on the weekly time frame, it's actually above. So as you can see, the target here is this 089.50 that I mentioned a few weeks back here. So that's where the market is being pushed, and the weekly on the weekly time frame, program trading is going to do whatever it takes to bring price to that 089.50 level. Finally, I want to close with the euro versus the Swiss franc here. You will remember that I mentioned in the Sunday's review that the sequence of measure move here has failed. We had the previous size to lows, and that identified our entry level. As you will remember, price was brought into the first target 021.40, and then the next measure move failed, and that gave us an indication that this market was ready to potentially start a sequence of measure move higher. And as you can see, 021.60 failed, and then the market came to trade the next setup. Still didn't give a free risk trade here, so O'Barrel did that. I would wait and see whether 121.48 is retested here, and the first target of this market is 121.72. This is it for today. Thanks a lot for sticking around and watching this video. If you want to receive this is my midweek review. If you want to receive the Sunday review, where I give 3 videos in which I review in much more detail each of these markets here, also starting from the weekly time frame, so giving a much larger perspective, you can subscribe my newsletter at www.fibstalker.com. I thank you very much for your attention again, and happy trading tomorrow, and happy continuation of the week. Thank you very much, and see you on my newsletter and on my blog. And if you have any comments, please feel free to add comments below, post in the blog, post on for a factory, and I'll take it from there. You can also write an email to fibstalker@gmail.com. Good night now. Bye bye.